Hello and welcome to our EECS 497 final demo for the fantasy football application built by Max Anderson, Stephen Najjar, and John Webb. First, just to introduce ourselves, our team was comprised of 3 seniors, the first of which was Max Anderson, who is majoring in data science engineering, and his role throughout the project was concentrated in the data ingestion layer, but then also extended into the service and front end with the player components in each of those. Then Steven, who is also majoring in data science engineering, was tasked largely with the logistics and data ingestion portion of the project. And finally, myself, John, I'm majoring in computer science and economics, and my role was concentrated in the service layer and front end portions of the project. Here are all the technologies that we used throughout our semester. MongoDB was our database layer, and we used it because it is a no SQL database, and that provides a lot more flexibility. We then paired that with GraphQL in our service layer, which worked really well, and there's a lot of documentation between the two of those sources that helped us a lot throughout the project. Then on the front end, we used React, which in my opinion is the best for the front end just because of the documentation and how flexible it is and how many packages there are that you can download that help you out a lot. On the data ingestion, we used Python and a GraphQL client. And then another component that we wanted to mention was Docker. Our app is fully Dockerized, which if we ever were to deploy it to AWS or another service, we would have a lot easier time doing that because of the Docker that we set up at the beginning of the semester. Here's a look at our overall structure. So obviously in the middle is our service layer with the GraphQL, and that's talking to the data ingestion, the front end layer, and the database. But each of those 3 components are independent of each other, and so everything runs through the GraphQL layer, which we were really proud of at the end of our project. Here are some of our biggest roadblocks. I think one of the biggest roadblocks was the React learning curve. Both Steven and Max had no past experience in React, and I think that can be a pretty steep curve to go up. But I tried my best to help them where I could, and they did a good job of looking at the documentation and picking it up pretty quickly. In the middle of the semester, I'd say right before or after the first demo, we had a mid-semester app failure that caused a huge issue and really stunted our growth for a while. And that was kind of coupled with we had a lot of trouble gaining full stack connectivity actually because of the Docker. Our Docker files weren't set up correctly, and that was a pretty difficult issue to find. And so those were some of our biggest roadblocks throughout the semester. Our biggest successes, in our opinion, include displaying the player data with calculations. At the beginning of the semester, that was one of our biggest goals, was to get player data from the data ingestion all the way to the front end and then start to do some calculations on it. And so we were really proud of being able to do that at the end of the semester. Conditional rendering in React was something that we really wanted to do. You'll see in our live demo, the login button turns into a logout button when you're logged in, and the back button on the tutorials pops up only if you're given the opportunity to go back, as if you're on the second page or further. And that was really cool for us to implement because it provides a lot of functionality to our app that otherwise wouldn't be there. And then our API implementation, which I already kind of mentioned, we were really proud of how large our GraphQL service layer ended up being and the functionality that we were able to implement from the data ingestion side, the database side, and the front end side. Now we'll move on to our live-ish demo.
Hi, my name is Stephen Najjar. For the past couple of years, my friends have been telling me to get into fantasy football, but I never felt that I had the time since I'm busy working all the time. And the current apps don't really favor novice users. They told me about this new one though, and they said that it is good for experts and beginners. So I thought I'd give it a try. Here I see the login page, and I like how simple it is, and I like the logo that they have here. Here I see the create account button, so I'm going to click that. I'm going to put my name in, Stephen Hajar, and my email. Password, confirm password. And I see that it has this cool slider here, beginner, intermediate, and expert. I'm going to leave it at beginner. Create account. Oh, looks like I messed up and the passwords don't match. Let me go back and fix that. We'll set that at beginner and create account. Successfully created account. Oh, and here's the home page. I like the lack of clutter they have here, and I see here on the left they have this thing saying your leagues and a tutorial page here. I see they have this how to win tutorial for getting the most points, drafting a winning team, managing your team to the playoffs, how to add new players, and position statistics, all about American football. This one seems most relevant, and I'm going to click this one first. The first thing it says, a little introduction here. I'll hit next. Okay, reading through all that, I'll hit next. Oh wait, looks like I didn't read through it completely. Perfect. Quarterback is considered the most important position. Understood. Okay, that was very simple and easy. I'm really excited to get started here. This app seems very easy to use, and I'll go through the rest of the tutorials later.
Hi everyone, my name is Max, and my friend Steve told me about this new fantasy football website called No Stress Fantasy Games. He sent me the link, and I created an account, so I'm going to log in now. And here I can see the home page. I don't need to worry about the tutorials on the right. You could say I'm the Michael Jordan of fantasy football. I've won championships 3 straight years. Steve invited me to this league, so I'm going to come over here on the left under your leagues and click on the EECS 497 group league that Steve created. When I click it, I can now see the league homepage, which is very easy to understand. We have the league title up here in the top right with the list of available players here in the middle. We can also see on the left here the current teams that are a part of this league. My team, as well as Steve's team here. I want to add my friend John to this league as well, so I'm going to put his email here in this field and invite him to our league. I'm going to click Add Team. Oh, and it looks like there's not an account associated with this email. I must have typed his email in wrong, so I'm going to fix that now. Click Add Team again. And boom, we can see John's team is added now with me and Steve. So it says here the league currently has 3 teams, but since it's a 10-team league, there are 7 spots left. And I'll be sure to continue adding my friends. Now, I think I'm going to come back, and I'm actually going to create another league for me and my home friends. So I click Create New League, and I see here now this box for me to enter the league name, the number of teams, and the name of my team. So I'm going to do that, name this Home League. And it should be me and my 7 friends, so 8 teams. And then I'm going to name my team Max's team. Now I'm going to click Create League. I've successfully created my new league. When I click OK, we can see here now I've been taken back to the league homepage where I have my league name here, my players, and the current teams that are in this league. Now if I come back to the homepage, one other cool thing that I noticed about this website is that there's an all players page that lists all the available fantasy football players. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And I see here a nice list of 832 available players that I'll be able to draft on my fantasy football team. So I can see here the player name, the team that they play on, their position, and their jersey number. I'm actually going to come up here and use the search function to search for one of my favorite players, Justin Jefferson. When I type in his name, now he comes up, and I'm going to click on him to see what his stats look like so far this season. When I select his name, I get taken to his stats page, and I can see all of his season total stats listed right here, as well as how many fantasy points I get for each one of the stats that he accumulates, as well as the total fantasy points that he's accumulated over the course of the season. Up here, we can see that Justin Jefferson has a total of 206.1 fantasy points. That's great. I can't wait to draft Justin Jefferson this year and win championship number 4.